Hello and welcome back to Meat City Gaming. JD here with another episode of Battle Bites here in World of Tanks. And yes, it is a good old-fashioned post-battle replay with commentary. Haven't done one of these in a little while. That was partly planned. I knew the Motherland missions were coming up in the beginning of June, and I knew that I was going to go for that tank, and it was going to be a bit of a grind for a 3-week period. So I took a little bit of a break from the game. I played sparingly. Started the new Know Your Tank series, which doesn't actually require gameplay, just recording some footage and discussing the game. And I also finished up a couple other games I was playing, like Mad Max, and also a Ninja Turtles game with my son, which I've done videos for as well. I'll put a little annotation to those videos if you're interested in seeing any of those. But what this battle is all about is a great result in the KV-85. So I am in the midst of the Motherland grind, and if you saw my first video kind of recapping my first night experience with the Motherland grind, it was pretty brutal. A lot of losses, a lot of mediocre or bad games. My Russian tank lineup is not the most impressive, and I'm not great at those tanks. They're kind of, mid-tiers, 5s, 6s, and 7s, and not too overpowered. My highest tier tank is the IS-3, and I don't have the top package unlocked on that yet either. So I get beat up a little bit in these tanks. I'm sure my WN8 and certainly my win percentage are taking a hit, but I really want to try and complete the ops to get the Motherland tank, so we're going to get through it. But during the grind on my second night, I did have this fantastic game in the KV-85. It's a really entertaining game. It goes down to the wire. Not going to spoil whether we win or lose, but I do have a big impact on the game and have a nice result. So let's get into it. And as I said, this is the KV-85. It is a tier 6 Russian heavy tank, and we've gotten ourselves into the town on Lakeville, and we saw an A43, and the reload is just a little bit too slow. But there's a KV-1S up around the church, and we put one in, another KV-85. It's a mirror tank. And we put one into his tracks, hold him in place, and we do reload in time, put our second shot in, another damaging hit, we pull back, and an ally takes him out. So now we're going to move up to the church, and there's an SU-85 that's really badly damaged. I'm happy to take a hit here if it means I can eliminate that tank. So I'm going to do that, but I take a hit from an artillery on the move, of course, not a problem. Luckily, it's a low-tier artillery, doesn't do too much damage, and this tank is pretty well armored as well. And by the time we get around the corner, we do get one shot in, not to the SU-85, but to one of the other enemy tanks, and secure our first kill. And now we have won the town, but looking at the minimap, I can see that the west flank through the valley, through the swamp, we're going to lose that. That looks like it's going to get overrun. So two options. I can turn back now, or we can try and progress the fight to get to their base to put some pressure on. Scores are pretty close. We're up one tank. Now, one of the problems with the Russian tanks is their view range. And so I knew there's a lot of unaccounted for tanks based on the minimap, that there were going to be enemy tanks kind of camping the base, looking down this valley. So I poked a little bit, got a bunch of them to fire, was hoping to get some spots off, but I didn't. But now I'm going to stay behind this rock, and there's one of the tanks. It's an SU-100, and our shot goes a little bit errant. So Russian view range and Russian accuracy, not great on this tank. But our second shot does go in. We put a nice big hit into the SU-100. We're trying to reload. We take another hit from the artillery. Doesn't do much damage. We fire blind, but we knew the SU was not moving, and that shot goes in as well to secure our second kill of the game. So our tracks are back up. We know artillery is zoomed into this location, so we're going to move a little bit. We're going to rock and try and not make ourselves too easy of a target. And I want to get down low, hopefully where I'll be under the gun depression of the tanks that are kind of camping the ridgeline here. Now, so I have some shots at this KV-2. We're going to let this fully aim. Again, aim time, another weakness of the Russian tanks. They're known for big guns, high alpha damage, strong armor, but pretty much everything else is usually going to be lackluster on these tanks. So we're going to aim for our second shot, and boy, I'm just trying to thread this one. There's some rocky outcroppings up in the way there by the KV-2, and I'm not able to put that shot in. So I'm listening to chat, and I'm hearing my allies. There's 3 or 4 of them on the mics, and first of all, I apologize. There is a bit of profanity. I try to keep it off the channel, just in case there's kids or other people watching that you're not getting blasted with curses throughout my videos. I will turn down the game audio. I still want you to be able to hear what's going on in terms of notifications and the tank firing and all that. But I'll have it turned down so it should be minimized, but just a forewarning, in the background on some of the other mics, there may be a little bit of foul language. But they are also communicating effectively as well, and they're telling me what's going on in the battle. They're explaining their hit points, and it sounds like they're going to fold. They're under heavy pressure, they're outnumbered, they're kind of holding that position as long as possible. So I decide, rather than try and crawl across that valley at the top and work my way towards the enemy base while I'm getting shot, I'm going to come back and try and defend. This is a nice position to defend. You have some depressions that you can use to get yourself into position. The enemy kind of has to come around a hard corner. You can have tanks tucked in on the valley, like on the right there. We have a heavy tank tucked in, so they really have to expose themselves to try and flush you out of this position. So to Churchill 3, he's holding on with a sliver of health and also a KV-2, and I'm going to come up here and try and provide some support. But before I do, oh man, look at this, a T-14. That is a soft target for us in this tank. Unfortunately, I have my premium rounds preloaded. I was expecting a big fight with some big tanks here at the base, and I don't switch out, and second one's loaded. Yeah, that goes low, and this was depressing. So apologies. I should have switched the ammo here. I really wanted to help. I knew my ally was outgunned up there at the top of the map, so I didn't want to take any time to switch ammo types, but all three of my premium shells missed, and now I am left without any premium. But hello, M6 right in front of us, and that guy was having a great game. But luckily we were able to put one into the lower plate with our standard rounds. It's enough to penetrate and remove him from the game for our third kill. Then we put another shot in right away into the KV-1, and now he's a one hit, and I am just getting pelted here by the other remaining tank. We finish off the KV-1, switch to the Churchill 3. He is just pounding our tank, but thankfully the penetration on his gun is not high enough to get through our turret or our slightly angled hull. I didn't really have a great angle on it. I could have done a better job, but it was enough. I knew that I was able to bounce a lot of those shots, so I finished the KV-1 first, switched to the Churchill 3, and now I've got a great sniping shot down at the KV-2. We put one in and damage his fuel tank, and it is a 2-on-2 right down to the wire. Boy, the guy up there on our team has just been dug in, holding on by the skin of his teeth. I really want to help him out if I can. I'm thinking, do I need to advance up the road here? No, I can thread this shot. Yes, it flies true, and at the same time, our Churchill takes out the enemy Lukes, and we win the game 2 versus 2. They get the last kills within a second of each other, lock down the win, and a great result for the team. We do secure our 6th kill on the KV-2, so we also secure a Top Gun. And man, that was just what I really needed. A lot of these games were just grinding me down. This one really gave me the shot of adrenaline I needed, the surge to kind of have a little second wind and get back attacking these Motherland missions. So we'll take a quick look at the post-battle results. We can see 2,533 damage, 6 kills, and that secured 43,000 silver with 4,500 XP, and along with our second class mastery badge, we secured a duelist and a bruiser and the defender medal. So when we got back to our base, we were able to put in shots to a number of tanks, and it was enough to secure the defender medal as well. And you can see our armor held up pretty well there. We bounced 840 in terms of damage, most of that coming, I think, from the Churchill 3. As a typical Churchill tank, it has a rapid firing but low alpha and also low penetration gun, so we were able to do some nice work on that tank while defending the cap circle. But as we look at the post-battle results, we can see the M6 on the enemy team, he had a monster game, outperformed me in damage and XP, but thankfully by the time he had done all that, he was on very low health, and I was able to take him out with my first shot at that tank. So quick look at the more detailed results here. We saw we had 18 shots fired, 14 hits, so we missed 4. 3 of them were those 3 shots in a row with the T-14, and they were all premium rounds, so that one cost me quite a bit of credits, or this would have been a much better result. But of the 14 hits, 13 penetrated. The only one that didn't was the shot that went wide on the SU. If it had gone where I was aiming, it would have penetrated, but because it flew so wide, it hit his very well angled side armor to me and bounced off. So not bad for the Russian gun. We were doing a little bit of longer range shooting there for a couple of sections, and the gun held up well, the tank held up well. Just an all-around great game in the KV-85. I don't think I've ever posted one of these games in the KV-85 on my channel yet, So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of an insight to the tank. If you can get it, it's a great one to have for the Motherland missions. It's a nice mid-tier, strong tank. It's reliable. It's a little bit forgiving. So I highly recommend if you're working towards something during the Motherland grind, work towards that, get it, and it'll help you on your way. So that's it. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, please feel free to give a thumbs up. I truly do appreciate it. Also, feel free to subscribe for future content. I'll have a post-carnage report of the Motherland when all is said and done, hopefully celebrating my acquiring of that tank. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining me. See ya.